Hey everybody, welcome back to Prepper Junkie. Today we are going to unbox and review a RUGER AR-5.56. So let's put this down, unbox it, and see what we get. Alright, let's go ahead and unbox it. Let's see what comes with it. Comes with a gun lock. Comes with a PMag Gen 2, 30 rounds, if you live in a state that can have those. And it comes with a firearm and a manual. Alright, so here's the AR. We're going to go from butt to tip and we'll open it up, show you the internals. I'll give you my thoughts on it and so forth. Alright, so let's dive on in. I'm going to take the chamber flag out to start with. There you go. Over there. Alright, so starting at the back here, this is kind of a standard run-of-the-mill buttstock. There's nothing fancy about it, 100% works. Doesn't have any padding on here, which is kind of nice. Not that these have a lot of recoil, but it's still nice to have a pad on here to kind of to put that on your shoulder. It does have a sling attachment here, no QD sling attachments. This is another sling attachment right here. And you'll also maybe see that it is stamped RUGER with the RUGER logo right here. It is a 6-position adjustable stock. Okay, and then we come down to, obviously we just have a mil-spec buffer tube, and we have the castle nut. I was a little surprised to see that the castle nut is not staked. Something that should really be done, but it's not a big deal. But yeah, it's not staked. So the end plate is a standard end plate. There is no QD attachment there. Also, moving up, they have just again an OEM charging handle. And if you see my other videos, I do not like these charging handles. They're just what typically comes with ARs. And usually one of the first things I switch out. I'm not a big fan. Moving to the top rail here, it does have another RUGER logo right there. And obviously we have a pick rail all the way along here, so you can mount your optics or whatever else. Moving to the upper and lower receiver is the typical 7075 T6 aluminum, so you are good to go there. You do have your typical forward assist, brass deflector, dust cover. Moving down, you have a mil-spec bolt release. Mag release, not bolt release. Touch base on the grip here. This is branded by RUGER. It's a step up from the kind of the OEM ones that you probably see that has a little finger groove here. It could do with the serrations, and the texturing could be a little rougher. It's a little smooth for my liking, but it definitely feels pretty good in the hand. It is hollowed out at the bottom. Again, a lot of times you'll see maybe a little compartment or something, but this one is hollowed out. Trigger guard is curved, which I do like to see. I do not like the straight trigger guards. Not a fan of those. So it is nice to see that is curved. The trigger is just mil-spec. So what we'll do is I'll kind of tell you how it feels, and then what we'll do is we'll do the trigger pull also. So let's go ahead here and do the pull. It's got a little bit of take up. The brake's really nice. It's very crisp. Let's do the reset. A little bit of let out. It's not a very long reset. It's not bad, and you probably heard the thunk there of it. The reset. The best part of that, it's got a very crisp brake. The reset's okay, but it's a mil-spec trigger and a budget rifle, so honestly, it's good for what you're getting. All right, so we're gonna do the pull weight. So we're using our Wheeler trigger pull scale. Obviously, if you're going to do this, please make sure your firearm is unloaded. We don't need any accidental discharges. I've already cleared this weapon. We are good to go. So let's put this on and let's pull and see what we come out at. And again, this is a mil-spec trigger. It's about 9 pounds. All right, let's do the second pull weight and let's see what it comes out at. It is a pretty heavy trigger, so it's going to come out about the same, I would say. Yep, 9 pound trigger. So 9 pounds on the button. Moving along here, let's have a look. The mag wheel is slightly flared, which is nice. And then we come along to the rail here. The rail is 11 inches long, and it is stamped with the RUGER logo here. And you can probably see it's got some bigger cutouts here. You do have an M-lock slot here, but then you have M-lock slots at 3 o'clock, one again at the 9 o'clock, and then a full rail here of M-LOK. So it's not full the whole way along here for attachments, but it says there is one there, and then a full length there, one there, full length again, and obviously the same on the other side. So there's plenty of M-LOK slots there for your attachments. And you can probably see by the length of this, if you're familiar with AR platforms, this is a carbine length. And if you're not familiar with AR-15s, there is, or if you're just not familiar with this kind of platform, there's typically 3 lengths. There's carbine, which is this one, which is the shortest one. And then there's a mid length, which goes up a little further. And then there's a rifle length, which you're not going to see on an 16-inch barrel. So carbine length is just fine. Mid length tends to smooth things out a little bit, but most people aren't really going to know. If you don't shoot a lot, you're probably not going to tell that much of a difference. But either carbine and mid length, they are still both proven to work just fine. The barrel. Now, this is one of the things, so just to be clear, I mean, this in today's market is classed as a budget AR-15. And I want to specifically point out in today's market because these are several $100s higher than they were a year or two ago. These are currently selling for about $999. So even though I say the words budget, I don't mean that it's a cheap gun by any means. I'm just saying the price point. Okay, so in this market, this is classed, I would say, is a budget AR-15. In actual fact, there's a couple of brands that I would kind of lump this beside as good, very good, solid entry-level AR-15s for multiple reasons. So there's this RUGER 5.56. Now, this isn't just a 5.56 with the barrel, it's a 1-in-8 twist, but it's a 4150 cold hammer forged barrel. Now that's really important to remember because cold hammer forged barrels are typically better than the standard barrels. They just tend to last longer, right? It's one of the big features. I don't know, I can't think off the top of my head if I know of a AR-15 under the $1,000 price point at the moment with a cold hammer forged barrel other than the RUGERs. I could be wrong, but that's just off the top of my head. So yeah, so the other brands I'm referring to is under the $1,000 budget that I would recommend is this RUGER, Smith & Wesson Sports 2, which you can get for about $800. Don't have a cold hammer forged barrel. They are good to go. Anything PSA generally is good to go. And another big one is IWI. Their AR-15 is also good to go. I kind of lump those together as all very similar rifles in some way, price point, features and things like that. And I would recommend those rifles as entry-level guns, even if it's just maybe it's your first gun and you just want to get into it, or you're looking for a platform you can build on. Those 4 are definitely good brands to go with. So anyway, off topic. So this is a 16-inch cold hammer forged barrel. Again, that is important, as I said, because it is a very nice upgrade to have on an AR-15. Then you have a proprietary RUGER, kind of like an A2 bird flash hider. Works great. What else do we have here? Let's go on to the other side. Obviously, we've just gone through all of this, and then we come down to the receiver again. It is stamped again with their logo, with RUGER and information there. It does have a standard bolt catch release right here. And it is marked AR-5.56, and it does have the fire and safe standard on the side here. So one of the things also to mention with, if you're new to AR-15s, if your barrel is stamped 5.56, you can shoot both 5.56 and 2.23. If your barrel is stamped 2.23, you cannot shoot 5.56 out of this gun. So, not this one because this is 5.56, but I'm just saying if your barrel has 2.23 stamped on it, you can't shoot 5.56 out of it. So please bear that in mind. That is pretty much on the features on the outside. Let's go ahead and open it up and we'll see what the internals look like. Now this is pretty much a brand spanking rifle, so that's a little tight. So this is your internals of this RUGER. As I said, it is a mil-spec trigger in here. And then we have a H2 buffer out. And it comes with, so this is your buffer, the solid piece at the end. It's your buffer. And this is your buffer spring. And again, if you've watched my other videos, you're going to hear me repeat myself on this, so I apologize. I do recommend switching these out. You do not have to in any way, shape, or form. Just an upgrade recommendation if you wish. I put in a T2, Spikes T2 tungsten powder buffer. If you hear this one, so they have these weights that rattle, these are weights that rattle, and it's got some oil on it. And then so with the tungsten powder, with the Spikes T2, instead of this rattle, rattle, bang, 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 it has this powder that just smooths out the motion. They're about $35. Again, you don't have to do it. It's just a recommendation. And I switch out the springs. These are good for about 5,000 cycles, and I realize most people probably won't ever shoot 5,000 cycles or use this for 5,000 cycles, but I do put in a Damage Industry spring. It lasts for about 750,000 cycles, so you should never have to ever switch it. And they're like $5 on sale. They're about $5. But just a recommendation. You don't have to switch this out if you do not wish to. It's just something that I do with mine. Okay, let's take out the charging handle and the bolt carrier grip. As I said at the beginning of the video, I hate these charging handles. I have a severe dislike for them. But anyway, it works, but I just don't like them. So this is their bolt carrier grip. So the things you want to look for is make sure that you haven't got any imperfections, that your staking's good on the gas key, and it should be staked on either side of the bolt that's here. So it is staked, and it is staked. It looks good. The craftsmanship looks really good. No imperfections. Again, you should typically catch anything before it comes out, especially since these are tested before they come out. But everything looks solid, everything looks clean, and that is your bolt carrier grip. So to put it back together, if you're not familiar, just push. So put in your charging handle into the kind of not the top piece. You got to go in through the bottom hole, and then you're going to push it up until it sits on basically it sits on some rails at the top there, just like that. So it'll sit like that, and then take your bolt, make sure your bolt carrier grip, make sure if your bolt is back like that, you've got to pull it forward, okay, because there's a piece here that will stop it from sliding in. So just pull that out, and then you're going to slide that in, and it all fits together like so. Just put it back on top of your lower. Push those pins back in. The pins back in, they were a little tight. Again, they'll wear in it after a little bit, but they were a little tight to get back on. All right, so that is the internals. So that's pretty much it for this. So let's talk about shooting. It was good. I had no problems, functioned flawlessly. Shot just fine. And price point, I told you for they're coming in about $999 for right now. With the current market, which is a really good price, I think for the current market, again, if this was 2 years ago, you wouldn't be paying this price. But for the current market, it is definitely a solid choice. And I would recommend this to anyone who's just getting into ARs, who just wants to own an AR just in case, or maybe you want to get into a budget rifle right now, and then you want to upgrade it later. That's how I started out doing mine. I bought a budget Smith & Wesson Sport 2, and from there I upgraded pieces over time. Turned out to be kind of an expensive way to do it, but if you don't have the money up front, it's kind of a good way to build out your AR. So that is it. All right, folks. Until next time. I'll catch you later.